three-dimensional part of his body and an object known as a beef heart.
No.
Whence we derive the term Captain Beefheart. Now, as the plot thickens, prior to getting this cheesy studio, I had a little background music. Prior to getting the studio, I was thinking of putting together a film based on the exploits of an imaginary character by the same name. The character, rather than being an old man who looked like Harry Truman, was going to be 23 years old. He was collecting unemployment, and he was magic, and he could fly through time and space and other dimensions. And he was going to come to the aid of an old janitor named Billy Sweeney, who was very unhappy because he missed out on a big chance for a white-collar job at a factory that made rockets in Happy Valley, and was engaged in this race to beat the whole United States missile industry to the moon. He was going to do this by first mailing in the cover up a book of matches for a course in space science, and then eventually developing the strange liquid, sort of an ooze.
Marco Verde.
Marco Verde? Mecos Verde. Yeah, that would be the ooze. And he was going to coat the outside of a specially constructed cardboard rocket ship with this liquid, which would immediately make the cardboard stronger than steel.
Oh.
See how that works?
That's the cardboard rocket ship that you had in your studio?
Right. So
cardboard dials and everything?
we went to the unpleasant extreme of manufacturing all the sets to shoot this film. We lucked out at an auction in Hollywood and picked up about $3,000 worth of sets and props for $50, and we had to haul it away, which took about 6 guys in a monstrous truck. And we set all these goodies up in the laboratory and pretended like we were going to make a movie. Then all we had to do was raise about $100,000 and we'd be in good shape. Well, that never happened. After, we got 20, but that didn't go very far. Okay, so we gave up on the film for a while, and that was when we attempted to put the suits together, and shortly thereafter, the suits reformed into Captain Beefheart and his magic band. The reason I'm going through all this elaborate background history is because I think Captain Beefheart is a very important group, and I don't think that people have realized the full impact of Don Van Vliet's imagination yet. His real name is Donnie Vliet, but he got into show business and put all that other baloney on there. Now, Donnie Vliet is probably one of the most neurotic people that you ever want to run into. He had a bunch of very unpleasant experiences as a child, and many of these unpleasant experiences are the basis of some of the songs in an album which he has out now called Safe as Milk. For instance, there's a tune which we should play called Grown So Ugly, which I feel is sort of a secret version of an incident that took place when I knew him in high school. This incident I will recount to you. Don's mother, who sold Avon products door to door, had all this stuff from Avon stashed at the house, which everybody used. You know, it was free. Beauty aids, of course. Don, being neurotic and a bit of a narcissist, was quite prone to dumping any kind of beauty aid he could find onto his body. He made the unfortunate mistake of taking some Avon cologne and putting it in his hair, which made it start falling out. And he also had put some other sort of Avon cream on his face, which made him break out in this giant rash. His face looked like an alligator, and he was losing a great deal of status at the high school. He moved out of our little desert community, Lancaster, where he went to school, moved down to East L.A. to stay with his aunt for a while he got his chops back together. And I think, of course it's only my opinion, he's probably got some other fantastic definition for this, but I think that's probably what caused this song to be manufactured. It's called Grown So Ugly. If they can find it.
Got a this morning. Then I put on my shoe. I sung my tune. Then I washed my face. I went to the mirror. Oh, to comb my hair. And I tell you, mister, he didn't look like you. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Baby, this ain't me. Baby, this ain't me. I don't even know myself.
Okay, that's the story of how Donnie Vliet got so ugly he didn't even know himself. We also have, sitting here, our hot teen throb microphone, none other than James Euclid Motorhead Sherwood. What? Come close to the microphone.
It's Euclid James.
Euclid James Motorhead Sherwood. Yes, okay. And we all went to high school together in this cheesy little town in the desert. Yes. It was very unpleasant to grow up there, but we found a way to have fun. One of the ways we had fun was we got sort of a little gang together. Actually, it was a gang of sorts, one of your unpleasant teenage gangs engaged in all sorts of violent activities, cruising through the root beer stand, and the hamburger stand, and the ones who had cars would show off their engines, and the ones who didn't have cars would try and get rides without putting in any gas money. And in those days, Don Vliet was what you call your part-time singer. He would drive around in his lowered Oldsmobile with a clay werewolf that he made himself, stuck in the place where the clock goes on the dashboard, little bulb. He made this fantastic werewolf head. It was about 1.5 inches high, carefully carved. The teeth were painted white, and it was like his equivalent of a St. Christopher medal, and we all know how effective they are. And he would drive around and sing like the Howling Wolf. The only problem was he had no natural rhythm whatsoever. He also had a number of very strange friends who eventually got together in this group, Captain Beefheart and his magic band. One of these people was very well, intimately known to Euclid James Motorhead Sherwood. I believe this person is playing the drums on this album. Is he playing guitar?
Yeah, guitar.
Because he plays both. He plays both guitar and drums. He's a very talented individual. We knew him in the old days as Butch Snoffer, but he's since changed his name to, I think it's Alex St. Clair.
Right.
One of those phenomenal things that happens when you get into show business. And I will leave it up to Mr. Motorhead at this point to explain to you some of the interesting features of the early life of Butch Snoffer.
Oh, well, in school when I first met him, he was pretty lame, as you would say it. He was running around with white peggers on, white buck shoes, a white sports coat,
And a pink carnation.
Yeah, and once in a while he would wear maybe a pink shirt or something. Anyway, we cooled him. We taught him how to wear khakis and a sports shirt and a sports coat, and you know, how to rob supermarkets.
What was his car like?
But he never had a car.
He had a car. We went back to, we saw.
Oh, right.
That was a Mercury, wasn't it?
No. I can't remember now. Oh, it was a Chrysler. That was the one when he was up in Lake Tahoe. He fell asleep at the steering wheel and ran in through a little kiddie land and crashed into a tree. Knocked 2 of his front teeth out, which he was very unhappy about.
He'd grown so ugly,
Yeah, that's another part of it.
What was the snuffer part?
That's his last name.
That's his last name.
That's his real name.
Alex.
Some weird fetish thing.
No. Alex Clyde Snoffer.
Snopping around her. It's like a muff diver.
Right. Snarfer. Bicycle seat thing. But, Alex had one eye that was in rather bad shape.
Still does, as a matter of
I
fact.
know. Oh, he's wearing a patch every now and then to look cool,
Mhm.
like Captain Raid. But Alex was, like really mean. He was supposed to be,
He was one of the bad guys in school.
yeah, one of the tigers.
Mm.
But he was really afraid of everything. Actually, he just
Are you
acted
trying to tell me now at this point that
Alex?
our beloved Alex St. Clair is a ninny?
Not
underneath
a
it all?
ninny. He's just chicken.
But he used to punch people out.
No, he didn't. He never fought anybody.
But he was
Nothing I
mean.
know. He just acted mean.
He was one of those kind of guys in school that would pretend like he was going to punch you out, but he wouldn't punch you out.
Well, he studied.
He wouldn't
like,
take you outside and grab you by the shirt and say, "I choose you."
No, he used to study the rise and fall of the Third Reich, things like that.
Yeah, that's
And,
right. He does have Nazi tendencies.
in fact, he's full German, so he believes it highly.
Yeah.
And he used to go around and say, "Wow, I wish I could find some cats so I could scalp them." And he'd try and carry the biggest push button he could possibly steal off the market. And once in a while, he really thought seriously about carrying a gun, but he never found one to steal, so he couldn't carry it. And then when our trombone player found a submachine gun and a sawed-off shotgun outside, they figured they were going to take the machine gun and shoot up the town a few times to see how exciting it was. But Alex couldn't get a hold of it. And finally, he found a sawed-off shotgun, which I took down in San Diego and got arrested with it. And he lost his shotgun. And heavy.
Yeah, run, catch on, that's the sun, sunshine on, that's ready for boy. Mother said son, she said son, that's ready for boy. Run, morning soon, Indian dream, tiger moon, yellow bird fly high, that's all sky, shoot shadow the moon, that's it, baboon, gonna catch us soon, that's it, baboon, gonna catch us soon, that's the baboon, that's the bird fly high, up a baboon side, that's shadow the moon, gonna catch us soon, that's it, baboon, gonna catch us soon.
For, during the boss's life.
Is that true?
Yeah, they caught him a couple times. Well, it's time to leave.
I'd like to say that we have about half of the mothers of invention sitting here rapping away about the people that we used to go to school with in the olden days that eventually went on to bigger and better things. Here with us tonight we have none other than...
Hi, boys and girls. I'm Jimmy Carl Black. I'm the Indian of the group.
And we also have...
The laugh.
As the left, Ian Underwood. I played a few instruments.
No, you forgot to laugh at the end of that, Jim.
I just did.
Come on,
No,
enjoy your
don't-
laugh.
That's not the way it went originally, though. Hi, boys and girls. I'm Jimmy Carl Black. I'm the Indian of the group. It sure wasn't between her legs. And then that cheesy little laugh. And over on the other side we have... Scorpio Rising. Otherwise known as Donald Ward Elmer Sweet Pants Preston. And sitting next to him is the world-famous Euclid James Motorhead Sherwood. Our
The two
fantastic,
carburetors.
our fantastic, unbelievable soprano sax virtuoso and equipment handler.
Remember, I beat a mean tambourine.
And a mean tambourine. Also, he is possessor of one of the most infallible memories of teenage trivia that we could find here in this area. He remembers a lot of the songs that you might be able to hear on this album, which has been handed to me, called Big J McNeely, recorded live at Cisco's Hermosa Beach, California. I remember when we used to play. See, we had a band a long time ago, a real long time ago. It must have been 1956. That's 100 years ago.
Heavy rockers.
The name of the band was the Blackouts, which later became the Omens, which later became, by a long series of events, as we've been trying to explain to you, a group which I'm trying to push because I think you should be interested in them, because I think they're wonderful as Captain Beefheart and his magic band. I'll tell you one of the things that some people have trouble with in understanding Captain Beefheart's music, and that is the words. The record is not recorded especially well. And if you listen to it at first, you hear it only as sort of a Delta blues band that's been commercialized, or a commercialized version of Canned Heat. But that's not exactly what they're up to. Many of the lyrics that Don Van Vliet has manufactured for these tunes are stories about his early childhood, which if you knew him when, you would find amazingly interesting. And we have been attempting to fill you in on some of the reasons why Captain Beefheart is worth having. Meanwhile, I think we should listen to this looks like it would be really fun. It's on side one. It's called Big J Shuffle. This is not Captain Beefheart, this is Big J McNeely.
We'll get another mic over there.
Oh, that will be swell.
Yeah, that mic is working.
So is this one?
Yeah, that one's working. Kruger, is that working?
47, 22, 1.
Which do you like better, 1 or 2?
1 or 2.
That's a ribbon mic.
I have no idea, man. I just sit here in front of I don't know what
Is there a reason why you just sit here in front of these particular microphones
transmitter
and
and does things to the people, that's all.
You're grinding on a tape.
I wonder who we have with us.
1,
I wonder who's sitting in the studio. Would you like to tell the people?
What's on?
The Midnighters are here.
Black. I think it's dark.
I wonder what that little
Imagine this will make any difference in the quality of the sound.
Does the microphone like it?
That rocks out. Heavy man, heavy. Heavy man, heavy.
We got a couple albums to choose from. One of your better albums, The Midnighters.
Don't forget the rubber bands.
Now you're safe.
Safe. Black. Wonderful.
Customize the last track. We're going to lower it.
Black. Wonderful.
Bring out the crow.
He's modulating the chorus of the credit mutilating all sequences. Struggle.
Reflecting lots more light than it did before.
Is it coming yet? Trouble started.
Johnny Gilbert, Jasco Station.
What I know. Johnny Gilbert, Zapco Station. Johnny Gilbert, Zapco Station.
4.90 over.
Johnny Gilbert, Zapco Station.
4.90 over. Comes down to 97.
Johnny Gilbert,
4.90 over. Stonebird 97.
Johnny Gilbert, Zapco Station.
4.90 over.
Johnny Gilbert, Zapco Station.
4.90
Johnny
over.
Gilbert, Zapco Station. Johnny Gilbert's 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 Zapco Station. Angels 39 Club. Angels 37 Club. Angels 36 Club. Angels 35 Club. Angels 48 Club. 4 guys.
Then 3 or 4 guys.
8 guys.
Then 3 guys.
And there were the
Playing
Vikings.
country and western music. And gradually working
Elmo
up
B
to
and
Louis
the other
Lewis.
3.
Douglas Peters,
Elmo B and the other 3
Whoopi,
playing in the
Whoopi,
Spur
Whoopi.
Club
On
in
the spur
Wichita,
of the moment.
Kansas, near Johnny Gilbert's Zapco Station, which is about 10 miles from Angels 37 Club, which I don't even think is in Wichita, Kansas.
Sure, Dad.
Good enough.
Sure.
We.
How's it go, Miss Stimpy? How's it go? Rock
At the
soft.
time you were working with this group at Angels 37 Club, 47 Club, what the heck was it?
That's close
The
enough.
49ers.
Could you mind describing the type of music you were playing before you joined the Mothers? Jimmy Carl Black, Indian of the group.
I started out playing hillbilly music with them 3 guys. And then I went up to playing real professional hillbilly music with Elmo B and the other 3.
Right.
And then I joined a rockin' group called the Vikings. We played at the Combo Club. And then I moved to bigger and better things with the
What's the name of it?
I can't think of it. Oh, the Keys. The
Right,
Keys.
right.
And we recorded a record called Stretch Pants. The ultimate recording label.
Ultimate.
And
Want
then
to
I
sing a little
went,
bit of it for us?
oh, I can't remember how it goes.
Stretch pants.
It's this beat right here. It's playing right there. It's exactly what it was. And then I joined a group called the Squires, and they fired me. And I moved to California and met Roy Estrada.
Bigger and better
What's
things.
Roy doing right now?
I don't know.
Good enough.
I know what he's doing.
I do too.
Caliente.
We don't want the FCC to come down here.
That's right. They can rock out on the microphone.
Yeah,
And then if you met Roy at the Hawk Shop,
that's where it was.
what are you doing there?
I was hawking my cymbals
What was that?
to eat. It's been 3 days. Anyway, we started to work in this cheesy bar in Anaheim, California, right around the corner from Disneyland, called
Near
the
John
Serena
Birch
Club.
headquarters.
We worked for a month and never got paid. We got a lot of free drinks.
What you call exposure?
Free drinks. The guys, after the show would be over, he'd say, "Well, I didn't make enough money to pay, but you can drink all you want."
At that point, you were drinking 10 quarts of beer a day.
No, I was down to 5 then.
Just working up to it.
And then we went to the Broadside Club in Pomona. A great place. And that's where we met Ray and Frank. And that's where the group formed.
Tell them about Skip. And there's a guy's named George.
Skip and George.
Skip owned the Broadside, right?
And he hated you and I.
Yeah.
And liked the other 2.
Skip was great. He was swell. He was what you call your swinger. You know, anybody with a pompadour is a swinger. And with a velour sweatshirt and maybe perhaps an alpaca sweater. There must be many of you out there.
White tennis shoes.
White tennis shoes. Sort of that, I might own a boat appearance. And he had this flunky working for him named George. He used to put his cigarettes out in his arm, and George would ask him if he needed anything else. You know the type. Maybe some more match. Everybody needs somebody, and Skip had George.
And Frank grew a mustache. And then George grew a mustache.
And then I started putting cigarettes out in his mustache, and that's when he got fired. What kind of music were you playing before you joined the Mothers?
I was working with Roger Niven with Dixieland All-Stars. And then I went to a group, what was that? It was really a great group. There was the Sparklers. It was a nice Vegas group. We played all those great hits that we've been rehearsing lately. Slacks. Yeah, this is more like a cop on Louis Prima. Louis Prima. I did a lot of work with, non-stop music where it was all black.
To protect the something around $15 that he took in
I had to
nightly
melt.
while we were playing
I was
there.
melting all over the room. And so I decided
And one evening, we usually got paid under
I forgot
$1.
I left my left foot back.
One night we had quite a celebration because we actually got paid in folding money instead of dimes and nickels and quarters. We were working for it was a big deal. We were working for a percentage, much as we work now. We were working for a percentage of the house, except the house happened to be about $1.50 for the entire night.
There were all these wires. What about the classical music you were playing?
No, the classical music. Well, let's see. I played some piano concertos,
When I was about 2 years
and
old,
some
we
chamber
learned
music,
to rock me
and
for punishment.
some John Cage, and some
Only for
Matsushita, 3-hour non-stop percussion piece in a darkened room with candles, with 3 candles for lighting. In San Francisco? No, the only thing that's specified is the score looks like a topographical map, like a lovely topographical map. The only thing that's specified in the score, one of the things that is specified is that you may not start the piece until there is a lady present, and the piece may not continue if a lady is not present in the room. And there's no time limit actually on the piece. That's the only time reservation.
you quit playing when someone goes to the bathroom.
No?
You have to play louder
Absolutely
when somebody
not.
goes to the
You
bathroom.
just have to keep playing, but loud enough so to be heard.
What did you do for a living before you went with the Mothers?
Oh, I'm glad you asked.
What about that when you were a salad chef?
Oh, a salad chef. Well, that came later. First, I was a newsboy. I was stuffing papers, right? Insert. Put one inside the other, day
The
after
Ledger
day.
Gazette?
I make $1 a thousand, penny a piece. Grinded them out. After a while, I really cranked them out. I did 1,800 a day. And then I moved up to bigger and better things.
$1.80.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
right. They finally paid me.
At least you got paid in folding money.
Right. Yeah, fold it all up and put it in your watch pocket. But $32 a month I made for 5 years, which is a lot of money to live on. And the rest of the guys in the group, after I joined the group, they would borrow money from me to buy booze, right? Because nobody had any money at all.
What, the Mothers or the other group?
No, the Omens. And finally, I got everybody in the Omens working at the newspaper company, stuffing papers. Terry Wimmer still works there, so does Fred Salazar. But they're big pressmen now. After like 8 years, they're still grinding it out.
Yeah, still keep that ink under their fingernails for status, just like the bohemian artists get it all over their pants and tennis shoes.
Yeah, and then I stuck that thing in the air and worked in about 5 or 6 gas stations.
What'd you do at the gas station?
Oh, I would just sit around eating sandwich and reading the Coke machine until a car would come in. I'd go out and I'd say, "Can I help you, please?" And she said, "Will you please check the air in the tire?" And so I let all the air out of the tire and I said, "It's fine, lady. You can take off now." Or I'd put water in the gas tank. No, I wouldn't really that bad.
No.
They would,
Your fantasy.
they would say, "Give me, sneaky people, you know." They come up and say, "Give me 5 of ethyl, please." And usually they try and fool you. Instead of $5, they mean 5 gallons, which is $1.50. So you put it in until you get about 50 cents worth of gas in. You say, "How much was that?" And you say, "Oh, 5 gallons, please." So you put in 4 gallons, and then charge them $5 for the whole thing. And they paid it. Slob. But
You know, if we didn't have anything to do in the gas station, we would sneak in the back room and see how many holes we could put in the oil can. Just a, you know, leak on the floor, and we get to throw this green jazz on the floor to soak up the oil.
Sweep it up.
Sweep it up, wash it down. When somebody comes in, the cement floors are so slippery, they usually wind up breaking a leg or something.
After you moved out of Lancaster and went on to bigger and better things in Ontario,
Oh.
California.
You're forgetting Lake Tahoe.
Oh.
That was beautiful. I moved to we lived in Las Vegas for 4 months, and after we almost got caught slot cheating, breaking into slot machines and so on, this cat I was with broke into the Moose Lodge and stole some money, so we split. And we went to Lake Tahoe. We lived up there 2 months. I was working road construction, pulling down 140 a week, really getting it on. And he wound up knifing a guy at a party 5 times in the chest, so we moved out of there. And I moved on to...
True, was that the guy that said he fell on the knife?
No, this wasn't the same guy. Hey, this cat was arrested when he was 14 years old for stealing a bicycle, which he got 6 months. And his father was supposed to take him out of juvenile hall after 6 months. Well, 2 days after he was 18, he finally released him. His father said it was good for him. So in order to get even with his father, that's one reason we went to Las Vegas. He found his father in a trailer, took out a claw hammer, and tore up every window and mirror and chair in the complete trailer. And we hastily left there. Anyway, went after Lake Tahoe, went to Ontario, wonderful. And worked at
Ontario
McBride's Smorgasbord. McBride! You whip out these roast beef that the spade chef would spit on. Things like this because he hated serving people. And we take the roast chickens and put them in screw-out things. I really don't know. We drop a pound of butter on the floor and we pick it up and throw it in mashed potatoes because we didn't want to waste it. I was grinding out these salads like a champ. I was making 9 different kinds of salad along with strawberries and little strawberry pies. And we worked
Tell
on...
us how you would make a strawberry pie.
Wait a minute, I got another beauty. There was this crazy chick that was working there. It was completely insane. I used to tease her about JC and the boys and Sky Chief, the big man in the sky, and she couldn't figure out what the hell I was talking about. So one day she got mad at me and she says, "I'm going to slap you." And I said, "You know, wait along, knock yourself out." So she slapped me and I stood there and looked at her and she finally passed out on the floor. And I looked at her and giggled a little bit and I walked off in the back room and somebody carried her out. And they stuck her in the freezer, which was right around the corner, 20 below zero. And they left her in there. We were whipping out these strawberries, right? We're bringing a big box of strawberries, and you have to pick the little flour powder out of the top of it. And you soak them in honey and water. And after all the red goop leaks out of the strawberries, and you get the little green stuff off the top, you take the sugar and water and the red coloring and whip it all into a syrup. And you take the strawberries and slice them up and put them in these little 2-cent pies that they made. Do-it-yourself pie crust, and we would put the syrup on top of it, and a little whipped cream and so on, and sell it for like 75 cents, I believe it was.
Tasty.
Wonderful.
Do you remember Ronnie and Kenny?
Oh, do I?
First, let me give you a little background information on these two world-famous individuals from our musical history.
Ontario.
When our third album comes out, there will be 2 songs on it devoted exclusively to Ronnie and Kenny. One of them is called The Idiot Bastard Son, and the other one is called Let's Make the Water Turn Black.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here, talking about Ronnie and Kenny. A little insight into the history of Ronnie and Kenny, because there's nothing on the liner notes of the third album that would give you even the remotest clue as to what these songs are talking about. Ronnie and Kenny had some very strange personal habits. The family was from the Ozarks, and as a group, they were quite unique. Ontario, California is a pretty small town with a lot of trees and a lot of Okies who like to work on their cars, and your usual California suburban town. You know, same stuff happens in each one of them. It's no different in Ontario than it is in Temple City, really. Ronnie and Kenny indulged in a strange practice which involved a certain body function and the ignition of
Hold that match.
what you'd call a time spark. They had a sort of human combustion engine principle that they had worked out between the two of them, which caused a great deal of damage to a product known as Levi's and underwear. Not only that, Ronnie had a window in his room. Now, Ronnie was what you'd call the best guitar player in town. He could play every solo that Chuck Berry ever played, as good as the record. And he could play that background like Jimmy Reed, like nobody's business. Dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun. His brother played the trombone, and his father played the bones. His father used to work as a minstrel in one of these little traveling minstrel shows in the South a long, long time ago, and he still had his original set of bones. And the family would gather in the music room, which was Kenny's bedroom, and they would sit around and play songs like Lazy Bones, with Ronnie strumming the guitar and Kenny either playing the piano or the trombone, and the father hunching over the whole crew with his bones jingling away.
With his leg on a chair.
It was really fun to watch. Another aspect of their unusual family life was Ronnie's window, as I began to explain to you. Now, Ronnie was about 20 years old when this incident occurred. He started saving certain Noomies. He was saving Noomies on the window in his room. He had a friend staying with him named Dwight, who was a very good saxophone player. And after they'd practice in the evening for their job in some sort of commercial shuffle band that they would take on the road in Southern California, they would each contribute Noomies to the window in the bedroom until you couldn't see out the window. Then they would play. Then they would play solitaire all night long until the sun came up, and then they would go to sleep. And then they wake up in the afternoon and do the whole thing all over again. This went on for about 3 months, and they always keep their bedroom door locked so that the mother couldn't get in.
She wanted to
Where
play.
did these Noomies come from?
They came from Ronnie's nose.
Oh,
And
He's a booger freak.
and that's true. The truth comes out. Ronnie Williams is a booger freak. And Kenny, his brother, was also a little strange. He had this strange thing that he would do with mason jars. And do you remember what he would do with those things?
Can we be naughty?
No, we got to say it real clean.
He used to take the jars off the shelf out in the backyard. When, when it was nighttime, and he would urinate in the jars. And, because...
Why would he do that?
Well, it was safer to urinate in the jar the front door and the neighborhood and so on.
Why would he do that in the shed? He was living in back of the house.
Well, it's too cold to go outside, and
It was like playing camp.
yeah, something like that. They had their own television out in back and their own special window. And,